2018, that's when we discovered the community actually. There were a lot of reports in the local media about them, about the case and Ejaz. So we approached Ejaz to start with towards the end of 2018, and we managed to start filming in May 2019. So yeah, it took some time through Ejaz. It was easier because Akmal, my collaborator, tried to approach some community members on his own, but he didn't get a very positive response. Because a lot of media people approach them and they do like quick short stories, and that like Ajaz mentions in the film that there not a lot of attention is paid in terms of how they're represented, or their kind of consent in terms of their stories coming out. We could only sort of meet one group of the trans community. There are other groups which they're harder to get access to and will not come in front of the camera. So yeah, those were the challenges to sort of identify who we want to film with, to make sure they understand what we're trying to do.
And have you been able to show this film in Kashmir to the community there?
Yes, we have. Things earlier when the film had finished and before we released it. But yeah, we finally did a public screening this year, almost a year from the release in May. And yeah, many of the characters were able to participate in the discussion afterwards. It was very nice to watch the film with them, and we had a large student audience, so they were very pleased with that, to sort of have young people watch the film. Yeah.
And how complicated it was for you to get a touch upon the politics of the state and not really go full hog into it?
There were real challenges and real security issues for the cast and the crew. So I had to be mindful of that in terms of the decisions made during the edit. So we had a lawyer look at it before we sort of released the film, and yeah, we were very careful. We stayed within certain limits because the idea was to sort of not take away from the story. We didn't want the film to have, not get a CDFC certificate or not be able to show it in certain spaces.
First of all, congratulations on the film. I think it's the honesty and the truth that is being portrayed in the film is really amazing. What I wanted to ask was that this is end slate, which shows that the next generation of the people belonging to the third gender are taking part and taking charge of the movement. Can you please throw some light on how they are participating in the movement?
I mean, the thing is, we haven't really been in touch with the community directly. It's through Ejaz that we sort of find out what's going on. What we have seen from the outside is they're using social media a lot in terms of there are younger trans people who are on Instagram with like thousands and thousands of followers. They'll be makeup artists, or they'll be they're sort of, it's a completely new world, like in terms of the generation we see in the film, they are quite removed from this kind of technology that has come in and the kind of access to technology. So yeah, it's that sort of a new kind of completely new look at how they are going through the same reality, but finding new ways to sort of get around it.
So while I was in college, so we made a documentary on transgender, and we happened to work with trans queen and people employed in the Lalit Hotel. So while going through their stories and documenting their journeys, I got to now realize that none of them was involved in religion. So they were very detached from their families, and even for the trans queen. So while they become trans queen, the family now accepted them, and before that there was no recognition. So now in this film, I see the characters were praying, and now you have revealed that it was during the Ramzan. So I mean, is it because of the Kashmir?
Regularly also, praying was not specific.
Yeah, that was my question. So they abandoned religion, and because of the Islam, there are certain things that certain people say that it's not accepted in Islam. So it's a very contradicting thing to see.
In Kashmir, yeah, like praying, they are allowed. A lot of places they're not allowed to be in the front section, the main section.
Yeah, that was the primary.
Yeah, but in Kashmir, it is like, this is like a move. Bablu has grown up in this neighborhood. Bablu continues to live in the same neighborhood where the family is. So this is like, must have been the mosque that bachpan se wahi ja rahe hain. But there is no restriction on trans people. Like I said, trans people have been assigned the role historically of cleaning the mosque, which they consider to be a really like prestigious role. You know, apart from the matchmaking and these sort of specific but very like they take them as a responsibility that has been given to them and they do this. You know what you're talking about.
Nishta, you want to comment? Like, Nishta is a transgender activist. She's here.
Community members, believe that we belong to all the religions, and that has never been one such barrier which has pushed us away, even if our families have. And at some point in time, like you said, many of us are able to achieve a particular position through employment, particularly. The bridge between the two ends is being filled. However, for many of us, it's still a challenge. And while families are not accepting, one of the reason is that religious belief, which has pushed us away, and it still exists. In fact, I know of many youth, who are still struggling with their identities and are being pushed out of their families on the grounds of their religion. So yes, there is very little awareness about this, but through this film, it was very beautifully portrayed, and we were able to see, although it was one particular section like you mentioned, but it was very nice, and we never thought about existence of the trans community in Kashmir, but it was very beautifully showcased. So thank you so much. I hope that helps.
Hi,
Thank
congratulations.
you so much.
It's so good to see you after so many years, and congratulations to you and Hanan for what is truly a beautiful film. What I really loved about it was this ethnographic look into the particularities of the trans community in Kashmir. As you say, it's very different from what we see in the rest of South Asia. They say it as well. So I really liked the fact that you were able to pull together that aspect of matchmaking that you don't hear about anywhere else in the subcontinent, which I think is very particular to this. What I really also loved was the songs and just the music and their participation in that world where some kind of joy and celebration. Also, all the old photographs that they gave you access to, that's amazing. There is, I mean, you're absolutely right, there's so little work that's been done on trans / hijra / third gender in Kashmir, but there's been this one picture from 1947 on the Katiya song. Did you include that? It came a little late.
It's on my Instagram.
Okay.
Just for safekeeping because it was costly. We couldn't afford it.
Really?
Of course, like
Okay.
these the only historical images you see, we've just sort of taken anything available in the public domain. It's a fully self-funded film. We had no money, so yeah, we could.
I wondered why you didn't.
I mean, it was heartbreaking to not use that photo because it was sort of. I'll tell you later. It's a story. But yeah, I know it's a beautiful photograph, and I really wish I actually thought about getting the illustrator who worked with us. I thought I'll ask her to sort of do a version of it just as an art piece but just that the fact that there is something was just heartening, but to see, but like unfortunately couldn't. Yeah, it would have been a whole thing. Like it's very expensive to use archives.
Can you please elaborate something on how did you build the trust with your subject, and what was the process of building trust with them before actual filming began? And since they are also involved in performance, how much do you think the performance came into the interviews? And when did you think the real truth is coming out as you as a filmer?
The trust bit, I think I got lucky. Like I said, my collaborator tried to sort of talk to them, get them to trust him, but they wouldn't. So he would sort of go, he went for a couple of the community meetings. The one we captured in the film is actually a much smaller meeting, usually due to COVID, but usually they would have much larger weekly meetings. And he went and they wouldn't really respond to him or engage with him. So he started making WhatsApp video calls with me and introducing me to them over video calls. And they were very responsive. So they were very excited to like just very brief conversations. But when I told them I would like to come and get to know them and film the stories, they really warmed up to me. I don't know how. I think it's my personality. I'm not sure. So yeah. So they were just like off the bad, like really comfortable with me. Yeah, I mean it's really, I don't know, I don't have an answer because I didn't do much. And to your second question, I mean usually it takes time to spend time with them, but I truly did not spend as much time in person with them. As soon as I met them, we started doing the interviews and filming with them, and they were very comfortable. Second question you had is very interesting. I feel like I really wanted to film more, spend more time with them, because I did feel like this was sort of just the surface. I really wanted to dig deeper.
So the one question that came to my mind is that this movie is very kept separate from the issue of religion and how Islam kind of the issues that the LGBTQI community, queer community, transgender community face due to the religion aspect. That was not really covered in this except for one part. Was that a conscious decision?
Again, it's something that you're tempted to do because also it gets very interesting and very eye-catching for an audience or for whoever wants to sort of. At the same time, we had a lot of content around religion because we were filming during Ramzan. It just happened that we were filming during Ramzan. So actually most of the interviews they were fasting and we were, and it was, so my collaborator actually again kept reminding me that this, we are here at a specific time. It's not really like that at all times. So let's not try to like sort of show that there's so, but I feel like they're so pious and they do have this sort of strong belief and faith, and they, at least they've decided to live their life in a certain way because they believe that this is the way that God wants us to live. So I feel like that comes across because that is, and in terms of like they even talk about how their concern is about the final rites, like will they happen properly, if we get surgery done. So those are the thoughts that they expressed in the context of religion. Apart from that, I feel like we could have gone a little more into it, leaned a little more into it, because like you see Bablu cleaning the mosque, that's a thing that traditionally the trans community does, and it's very unusual. It's unheard of anywhere else. So we could have sort of explained what was going on, but again there were decisions based on like the story, the overall story, and how much we wanted to sort of balance things out. There was so much more interesting stuff that we couldn't. That is just one example. There is caste, but again, it's very complicated. The group we met with is one caste. They mention other castes. There is a very complex kind of caste system, but again, we could not get access to anybody else, so we were not able to include this bit because a lot of it also depended on like how do we visually support this, or even for ourselves like understand more. But yes, there is mention of it. They have mentioned it. Similarly, they mentioned like their connections with Hijra communities in Rajasthan, Punjab, even Jammu, and they visit each other annually.